Hey Broncos fans, hope you're having a good Friday. Sam Brown here with the Broncos Breakdown. Got a couple pieces of news to dive into here on a Friday afternoon, and it's around two big players for the Denver Broncos. So let's not cut around anything. Let's jump on in here, starting with Von Miller, as it's been announced this afternoon that he will not face criminal charges, on an investigation by the Parker Police Department started earlier this year. Obviously, a very serious situation that has unfolded, and we've been waiting to hear more evidence around it. And the office has declined to file charges, quote, based on our review of information that is currently available. That was according to a statement by the Parker Police Department. So, obviously, big news for Von Miller, and certainly helps his return to Denver next season. Turns his contract situation to one purely based off the player. So no charges for Von Miller here in this investigation. Still waiting to hear really what the investigation is about. They haven't really showed much evidence of that in that regard. But Von Miller will not face charges in this investigation. Now, this is why you subscribe. Before we jump into a little bit more of the context and my take on it, this is why you subscribe to the Broncos Breakdown. We're sitting here on a Friday afternoon. I was looking forward to the weekend, starting to look forward, maybe some happy hour here after I get off the clock. But as soon as the news comes in, I took my hat off. The hair's a little messy. You may not be able to tell, but I was making that video right off the bat for you guys. So if you want more content like this, be sure to subscribe to the Broncos Breakdown. You see that little red button right below this video. Smash that. Turn on your notifications as well so you never miss a video whenever we put one out. Getting close to 2,000 subs. Let's try and get there. I need your help to do it, so be sure to subscribe today. I want to jump into this quote by George Paton on Thursday, talking about Von Miller's future. He dove into the legal aspect of things, not much, obviously saying that, we'll let the legal system play out. But his exact words were, we want to bring Von back, and we're still working through that. I don't want to get into everything, but we want to bring him back. That was on Thursday. Friday has come. It's time to make a decision. Now that we know more about this investigation, we know that Von Miller is not facing charges in this investigation. Like I said, his future becomes strictly contractual now with the Denver Broncos and is based solely on the player himself. Now, the player is on the other side of 30. The player does carry a $17.5 million cap hit on his current club option. The player has not played football in over a year, obviously, after tearing that ankle tendon in training camp last preseason. But in terms of his football play, we know that he can still make an impact. We know the value that he brings as a leader to younger guys like Chubb and Malik Reed. And so I think in a football sense, his future in Denver has become clearer in that they can bring him back if they can agree on the money side of things. That is yet to be determined. We'll keep you posted here on the Broncos Breakdown as we get more details. But the legal side of things is completely out of the picture now. It's focused solely on Von Miller, the player. And we'll find out very soon how much George Paton values Von Miller and his contributions to the Denver Broncos. Pin comment down below. I want to hear from you guys in the comment section. Should the Broncos bring back Von? Now that this entire legal situation is out of the way, I think we're going to see a lot more yeses in the comment section, but I might see a couple no's. You can type Y for yes, type N for no. Get your votes in right now in the comment section. Should the Broncos bring back Von Miller this offseason? Some Justin Simmons news here on the Broncos Breakdown by Chat Sports. Denver is tagging the franchise free safety for the second straight season. Now, this isn't exactly shocking news by any means, as they've been looking to work on a multi-year deal, but the possibility of a second franchise tag was always in the picture for Denver, and now they have until July 15th to agree to a long-term contract, but if they don't agree by then, Justin Simmons will make roughly $13.7 million, about a little bit more than he made last season, but about under $14 million. That's the range that we're looking at. Numbers still waiting to be confirmed and determined. But this isn't news. Like I said, the Broncos have said over and over they've wanted to keep Justin Simmons around, and we'll show a quote by George Paton here in a sec. But regardless, Justin Simmons franchise tag for the second straight season. If they don't agree to a long-term deal by July 15th, he'll play on that $13.7 million-ish franchise tag. And it's good news regardless for Denver that Justin Simmons is coming back, has become the backbone almost of that defense over the last couple seasons. Von Miller may be the face, but Justin Simmons might be the backbone in recent years. Here's what George Paton had to say in his statement Friday on tagging Simmons. Says, quote, "Designating Justin with the franchise tag is a procedural move that allows us to continue working on a long-term deal. We are completely focused on making sure Justin remains a big part of the Denver Broncos for many years to come." That's very PR talk, no doubt about it. It's what you'd want every GM to say in this sort of situation, and for good reason. Justin Simmons has been one of the NFL's best safeties over the last 4 seasons. 24 pass breakups. Producer Brett lost his mind at that number over the past 2 seasons and 9 interceptions. The guy can do it all in the run game and in the pass game. He's entering his prime right now. It's very simple, and I've said this time and time again. Do what it takes to keep him in Denver. This is a player that you can't afford to let go. Don't be like the Cowboys and Dak Prescott. Keep that franchise player on defense because the impact that he has is insurmountable, and these numbers don't do it justice. Do what it takes to keep Simmons in Denver. Find a way to get to that long-term extension because, like I said, 27 years old, he's getting into the thick of his prime years. This is when you're going to get the best football for Justin Simmons, and it's understandable why this process is taking a little bit longer because he wants to be sure that he has paid his value over the next few years. So a franchise tag isn't a bad thing. I know some people look at it as this is not good for both sides. This means they won't agree to a long-term deal, but there is plenty of time for things to sort themselves out. Still early in the process, so we'll wait and see how things unfold. But Justin Simmons on a franchise tag, I think regardless, the fact that he returns is a good sign for that Broncos defense. He's a guy that you can build around. There's no doubt about it. So bringing him back on that franchise tag is good news nonetheless. We'll close out here on this question. What is your confidence level in signing Justin Simmons long term? You can scale it from 1 to 10. Right now, I'm fairly optimistic. We'll go about a 6 or a 7 because Justin Simmons has said so many times that he wants to be in Denver. But at the same time, until there is pen to paper, you can't ever be too sure about anything. Like I said, look at the Cowboys and Dak Prescott. They've talked about a contract extension this entire time, and yet here we are. They've completely botched the deal. The Broncos have at least made progress in that regard to bringing Justin Simmons back, and it doesn't seem like there's any sort of stalemate. It looks like both sides want a reunion, and so in that sense, I'm looking a little bit more optimistic. Get your votes in for me, though, in the comments section. All right, want to get you guys this really good deal before we wrap up the show. NFL St. Patrick's Day gear on sale, your Denver Broncos gear, more importantly. You can find that at chatsports.com/St. Patrick's. You see a hat on screen, but they've got so much more, from hats to hoodies, long sleeve shirts, short sleeve shirts, even some stuff for you ladies and stuff for the kids as well. Don't get pitched on St. Patrick's Day. Make sure you're wearing green and make sure you're repping those Broncos. You can find that Broncos gear at chatsports.com/St. Patrick's. Shout out to our friends at Fanatics for making this sweet deal happen.